The first time I heard the voice on the baby monitor, I was alone in the house. My son was 6 months old, sleeping in the nursery down the hall. The monitor sat on the kitchen counter, its green light glowing, the speaker hissing with that thin, empty static that all parents learn to ignore. I was washing bottles, not paying attention, when the static changed. It sharpened, focused, and then a voice came through. Not my son's voice, not a cry or a coo. A woman's voice, low and calm, speaking in a language I didn't recognize. The words were soft, almost musical, like a lullaby sung backward. I froze. The voice continued for maybe 10 seconds, then faded back into static. I ran to the nursery. My son was asleep in his crib, his chest rising and falling, his face peaceful. No woman, no one. The window was closed, the door was locked. I picked him up. He didn't wake. I held him for an hour, my heart pounding, waiting for something to happen. Nothing did. I told my husband. He said it was interference, a neighbor's baby monitor on the same frequency, a walkie-talkie, a trucker on a CB radio. He said I was tired. He said not to worry. I tried not to worry, but the voice came back every night, always between 2 Lund and 3 a.m., always the same low, calm tone, always the same language. I recorded it on my phone. I played it for a linguist at the university. She listened for a long time. Then she said, "This isn't a language I've ever heard. The phonemes don't match any known human speech patterns, but it has grammar and syntax. It's structured. Someone is saying something. I just don't know what." I asked her if it could be a hoax. She said it could be, but whoever made it knows things about linguistics that I don't, and I have 3 PhDs. I stopped sleeping. I sat in the nursery every night, watching my son, listening to the monitor. The voice came at 2:17 a.m. on the dot. I started to recognize the rhythms of it, the rise and fall, the pauses. It sounded like instructions or a story or a prayer. One night, I brought a second monitor into the nursery. I placed one near the crib and one near the window. The voice came through both, but it was louder near the window. I put my ear to the glass. The voice was coming from outside, from the dark, from somewhere in the yard. I grabbed a flashlight. I went outside. The yard was empty. The trees were still, but the voice was there, faint and distant, coming from the woods behind the house. I walked toward it. The voice got louder. The words became clearer. I didn't understand them, but I felt them. A pressure in my chest, a warmth behind my eyes, a feeling that I was being pulled forward by something that had been waiting for me for a very long time. I stopped at the edge of the woods. The voice was coming from a specific tree, an old oak, massive and dark with a hollow in its trunk. I shone my flashlight into the hollow. There was a box, wooden, carved, with a lid that was warm to the touch. I opened it. Inside was a photograph, a woman, dark hair, pale skin, wearing a white dress. She was holding a baby. The baby had my son's face, the same eyes, the same smile, the same small hands. The woman was looking at the camera. Her eyes were red, not bloodshot. Red, like the irises were made of polished garnets. On the back of the photograph, written in ink that seemed wet, "He's mine now. You gave him to me when you let me speak. Every word you heard was a thread. Every night you listened, I wove it into a rope. Now I'm climbing, and when I reach the top, I'll take what's mine." I dropped the box. I ran back to the house. I grabbed my son from his crib. It was cold. Not cold like a baby who had lost his blanket. Cold like something that had been sitting in a freezer. His eyes were closed. His mouth was open. He wasn't breathing. I called 911. The operator said to start CPR. I did. I pumped his chest. I breathed into his mouth. His lips were blue. His skin was gray. I screamed his name. I screamed until my throat bled. The paramedics came. They took him from me. They worked on him in the ambulance. They drove to the hospital. I sat in the waiting room for 4 hours. A doctor came out. She said he's stable, but there's something we don't understand. His vitals are normal, but he won't wake up. It's like he's in a coma, but there's no brain injury, no trauma, nothing to explain it. I stayed at the hospital for 3 days. My son didn't wake up. He lay in his crib, the hospital crib with its metal rails and white sheets, and he didn't move. The monitors beeped. The nurses came and went. I held his hand. It was warm now, but it didn't squeeze back. On the 3rd night, I fell asleep in the chair beside his bed. I dreamed of the woman. She was standing in a field of tall grass holding my son. He was awake in her arms. He was smiling. She was singing the lullaby from the monitor. The words made sense now. In the dream, I understood them. She was saying, "Sleep, little one. Sleep and dream of me. Your mother can't hear you. Your mother can't but I can. I will. Forever." I woke up gasping. My son's bed was empty. The monitors were silent. The sheets were cold. I screamed for the nurses. They came running. They searched the room. They searched the hall. They searched the hospital. My son was gone. The police came. They asked questions. I told them about the voice, about the monitor, about the box in the tree. They looked at me like I was crazy. They filed a report. They said they'd do everything they could. That was 6 months ago. I haven't seen my son since. I haven't heard the voice. I've moved 3 times. I've changed my name. I've stopped using baby monitors, stopped watching the news, stopped answering calls from numbers I don't know. But every night at 2:17 a.m., I wake up, not because of a sound, because of a feeling, a pressure in my chest, a warmth behind my eyes, a certainty that someone is standing at the foot of my bed, watching me. Last night, I looked. There was no one there, but the window was open. I always closed the window. On the sill, there was a small wooden box, the same box from the tree. I opened it. Inside was a new photograph. My son, older now, maybe a year old. He was sitting on a woman's lap. She was wearing a white dress. Her eyes were red. She was smiling. And on the back of the photograph, in the same wet ink, "He's happy. He calls me mama now. He doesn't remember you. He doesn't ask about you. He's mine. He's always been mine. You were just keeping him warm for me." I burned the photograph. I burned the box. I burned my hand. I didn't feel the pain. I felt something else. Something colder. Something that had been growing inside me since the first night I heard the voice. A knowledge. A certainty. The woman wasn't a ghost. She wasn't a demon. She was the space between a mother and her child. The place where love goes when it's not enough. The dark that waits for every parent who looks away for just a second, who thinks it won't happen to me. It happened to me. I listened to the voice. I let it in. I gave it my son. I'm writing this because I need someone to know. Not because I think it will help, but because if I don't tell the story, I'll forget. I'll forget what his laugh sounded like. I'll forget the weight of him in my arms. I'll forget that he was mine before he was hers. Tonight, I'm going back to the house. The old house, with the woods and the oak tree and the hollow where I found the box. I'm going to find the woman. I'm going to ask for my son back. I don't know what I'll offer her. I don't know what she wants. But I know she wants something. She's been taking children for a long time. Every baby who dies of SIDS. Every child who disappears from a locked room. Every mother who wakes up to an empty crib and a voice on the monitor. She takes them all. She keeps them in the field, in the tall grass, in the place where the lullaby never ends. I'm going to find that place. I'm going to walk into the grass. I'm going to find my son, and I'm going to bring him home. If you don't hear from me again, assume I made it. Let's assume we're together. Assume the woman let us go. But if you hear a voice on your baby monitor tonight, if you hear a woman singing in a language you don't recognize, turn it off, unplug it, throw it away. Don't listen. Don't let her in, because once she has your child's name, once she has the sound of your child's breath, she won't let go. She'll climb through the static. She'll come through the walls. She'll take what's hers, and you'll be left like me, alone, listening, waiting for a voice that never speaks, holding a photograph of a child who no longer knows your face. I have to go. The sun is setting. The woods are dark, and I can hear her singing, not on a monitor, in my head, in my blood, in the space where my heart used to be. She's calling me home. I'm coming. Wait for me.